YouTube, welcome. We are here in my basement where hopefully the acoustics are pretty nice, and we are going to do a little bit of tying. Had an idea for a video, kind of a tie then catch, but I think I'm just going to do a little bit of tying. I'll upload this in between my bi-weekly schedule, and yeah, see what we can, do some tying, tell some stories, something a little bit more lighthearted, a little bit more fun. I feel like, you see a lot of my personality while I'm out fishing, and you see me blink and think, and I don't get to actually sit in front of the camera like this very often and just talk to you guys. So yeah, this is Chris with the Flyest Adventures, and today I am going to be tying a ice jig, and I'm not making the lead or the tungsten or anything like that. So what I actually have here, so typically those of you that fish know that tungsten jigs for ice fishing are usually $5-6 for two. I found these, so I'll got a couple options here at Walmart for $1.86 for two tungsten jigs. So I picked up a few of those. By a few, I mean like a dozen. And then I also got they had some teardrop jigs for 86 cents. Why not? And then what I'm gonna do is, since they're cheaper, I am going to tie with them, which, it doesn't matter, cheap, expensive jig. Realistically, once you tie, if things were to fall apart, then you just retie onto it, right? But what's nice is I don't have to paint and make the tungsten and stuff like that, because I don't do a ton of that stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna get one of these set up into the frame, and we'll get tying. All right, now we got you guys in a little bit closer so you can see. I'm just using my little portable fly tying kit. This is actually how I started tying. I do not even remember where I got it. You know what? I think my grandparents got it for me, so thanks for that. That started the addiction. And I have the furnace is running. I know you can hear that. I'll just put some music under this. So I have one set up in the vise here, and you don't need a bunch of crazy stuff. These kits are not that expensive, and you really just need some thread and some feathers to probably do what we're going to do today. I might play a little bit. I'm actually going to start with black. Actually, I lied. I'm going to start with chartreuse, yellow, because if any chartreuse, it ain't no use. Shout out to Clayton. Shouting out, 100,000 subscriber YouTube channel. So me, what do I like to watch on YouTube? I am all over the place when it comes to YouTube, but I do love watching Canadian fishing videos, like Jay Siemens, like Clayton Schick. Loved Uncut Angling when Aaron was still consistently uploading. Yeah, just a place that I would love to make it to someday is Manitoba. Try to get this thread through here. Come on. I'll show this to you guys here in a second. Got it. Okay. So this is a bobbin. So it's just like some spring tension there holding that on. And then you got some thread coming off. And you thread it through. You saw me kind of suck on it to try to get that thread to pull through. And your bobbin is going to be what allows you to actually tie, right? So basically you want to get whatever you're comfortable with as far as an amount of thread. And then you're going to start. I got a little bit too much. Yeah, I got a little bit too much. Maybe you get too much, you can always just spin it back onto there. And you're just going to start to wind. Just wind some thread and then work it down so you create a nice base layer. That's the key with tying, whether it's flies or jigs, is you want to start a nice little base layer, and then you can go ahead and trim your tag in now too. Because the steel, or whatever kind of hooks you're using, isn't going to want to hold on to whatever you're going to attach to it. So your thread is basically giving you a base layer for things to hold on to via friction, right? Because that steel is going to be very slippery. You're not going to be able to get much grabbing on there. So pretty much start your thread, work your way down, work your way back, and then there you go. I'm gonna get some of my materials out and we'll tie something. I don't know why I did that. I'm gonna get some materials out. I got so many materials. I mean, we literally have everything that we could want. And I think, so I've got chartreuse and glow tip. I am gonna go with some ice dubbing, but instead of using it, so this stuff's like crystal ice dubbing, and instead of using it like a dubbing, I'm actually gonna use it as a tailing material. And I think I'm gonna go with red. Chartreuse and red. That's a pretty cool combination. And so all you're gonna do is get your bag open. And just grab a nice little pinch. The problem with this, right, is that you're not gonna get a bunch of the same size fibers. You're always gonna have waste when you're tying flies. Don't try to be stingy. You know, when you're first starting out, you're like, oh man, I just spent so much for this tying material, but you know, you can't be stingy with stuff like that. If you're saving every little thread, you're just gonna be upset at how much you're fighting it. So I've got it just kind of as a nice little, you know, collection of strands here, and I'm actually gonna hold it against the shank of the hook. You can see I've got it hanging out over the top there. I'm gonna just give it another couple wraps, get it attached there, and then I'm actually gonna pull it back. I feel like I want to get some spin on this. Yeah. So obviously once it's wrapped on, you can kind of move it around as you want. And then I'm going to hug everything back. Maybe not everything, but most of it back. And then just start tying, wrapping my thread in front of it to make a nice little nipper presentation. I may actually trim it down once we get it on there. So got that on there, and that's pretty much it for this one. Honestly, you don't want to go too crazy with ice jigs because you're probably still going to be tipping them. So then you're going to get your knot tool. I'm actually not using super glue for anything today. So this knot tool, it takes a little bit of practice to get used to. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to pull a bunch of your thread. You're going to go under the hook, and then you're going to go around that. And then you're just going to wrap. And just allow the line to go in between the V every time. And then that's pretty much it. And then you're gonna pull down, release it from that loop, release it from the hook, pull it tight, and trim it close. That's it. And if you wanted to super glue this, you could. You would just dab a little bit of super glue onto the thread there. But that is it. And that's gonna be like a little nipper presentation. I might actually trim here. I'll just show you. Let's trim it real quick. Yeah, that's a lot better. So now I've trimmed it down. And so what that's gonna do, trimming it down, is gonna try to mitigate any bluegill just coming up and nipping on the back end. But that looks a lot like the little nippers, which I believe are, I keep saying it, I believe they're made by K&E Tackle? That sounds right. K&E or Lindy. You know what? It's Lindy. And they're typically like a crappie jig, walleye-ish jig. But they use feathers for theirs, and so I'm using just a little bit of ice dub. And that's number 1. And there's no need to stack this. We're not doing, you know, these are real simple ties that we're doing here. And so I'm gonna try to get the brown on the top and the orange more on the bottom of this jig. And to do that, so ideally you don't really want to trim the tips off this. You want to trim underneath because those tips are what's going to give you the most action while you're jigging it. So obviously I only really need maybe that much. So I'm going to put the rest of that up in front of the actual jig. I think that'll do it. Look at me being a goofball. I didn't even wrap my thread first. Why didn't you tell me? That's on you. That one's on you guys. You are forgetting something. Alright, we're making a nice base layer again. Trimming our tag. Okay, let's try that again. So now we have okay. Try that. Just kind of spin it around a little bit. Again, you can just pull your everything tight, just kind of around there. And then even though I'm going to be trimming off all of this up in front, I'm still going to grab it all, gather it all in my fingers, pull it back and tie in front of it. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna make it stick more straight up like this, so I can get an easier trim on it. And I left a little bit of extra just because I'm not using any super glue tonight. So that way I can kind of get that extra tied into it. And that should be pretty good. So we're gonna knot it. Finish this jig. And there's that. And there is a nice mini bucktail. And again, I maybe went a little long with this one, but this might be something I use more for like walleye or bass, where I'm not as worried about a short strike. I'm also kind of just testing some different styles because I have so many of these jigs, right? Let's set up for another one. What do I want to do? I'm not gonna do another bucktail on camera. What do I want to do? No bucktail. Got it, I think. All right, for this one, we are gonna go super simple, which is hard for me to say because I'm terrible at going simple. So I have some skirt for a chatterbait. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just double up that skirt. I have two pieces, right? So I got a clearish and then one that's kind of got some crappie design to it. So I'm going to double it over on itself. I've already got my thread started, unlike last time. So you got 4 strands coming off. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set those strands so that they come off about a centimeter past the hook. So it's probably hard to see here, but the hook is, about a centimeter. I'm going to go just about as far past the hook as the hook goes past the jig head, if that makes sense. And I'll show you guys what I have done, obviously. So I'm going to get a couple threads wrapped, and then I'm going to start to pull it around. So I get them a little bit spread out around that hook once I finish the tie. And again, I'm being very meticulous here. You don't have to go that crazy. I'm just that way. Okay, and then we're gonna go around a few times. We really want this one to stick straight back. And we're gonna pull straightened up the same way that we did with the deer hair. Tie in front of it, so that way it kind of sticks up like that. Trim it and leave a little bit just so I can cover it with thread, so it kind of helps it hold in a little bit better. And it'll make a little bit of a bulge on the front of the jig, but it's not really a huge deal. And finish it. And there you go. Just a little bit of that rubber skirt, and that's going to allow it to have a little bit of extra tantalization in the water. A lot of jig trailers for ice fishing kind of have that, right? That little tickle tail. Well, this one will be built in, and then you can still spike it with whatever you want. So I actually, with that one, because the skirts were so long, I have enough. I'll make another one exactly like it, probably with a different colored head, because I think that's gonna catch fish. I can't see that not catching fish, to be honest with you. Okay, one more. What do I want to do? I'm gonna do a simple collar, so I'm gonna show you guys that. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do a simple collar. So what I have here are some strung rooster saddles that have been colored red. And I'm gonna just pick one that's pretty small. We can always trim it too. There's nothing wrong with trimming your collar. You can see I pulled it out of the string. And then you just want to trim. I mean, you really don't need a lot of this, right? So I'm gonna trim probably about to there. And there's that furnace again, but you can see how much I cut off. And I'm literally not gonna use that. You can, like I said, you can get creative with stuff with your scraps. It's kind of fun sometimes, but I'm not doing that right now. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take some of that down here near the bottom and you're gonna strip that away. So you get down to just that center rib. So you can see maybe if it's focusing. You just have a bunch of the exposed center rib. And I'm gonna put that red on a glow jig. Yeah, I'm gonna do the chartreuse, the same one I did first. Chartreuse and glow. And I'm gonna change my thread over to yellow again. I'm gonna just keep changing thread. I should just tie the same thing, but I'm making it complicated because I don't tie them all for you guys. Alright, what else? I guess I could talk about the channel, right? So why did I start this? Why do YouTube when, you know, I work, I actually have a degree, bachelor's degree in biology. I hoping to finish my master's degree soon. I work for a, I guess it would be a commercial display company. So not in my degree, but a job that I do love doing. And yeah, so why YouTube? Probably not gonna really ever make money on this. I mean, eventually someday that would be cool, but for now, it's just fun. It's kind of a passion project, right? Like, I have records of my experiences and my adventures and the flyest of them. Sorry. And I can share them with my family and friends and go back and watch them. And, you know, it's awesome to see strangers liking my content, commenting on it. And it's just cool to be able to share what I do and what I enjoy doing, because this really is, I mean, this is my drug. I don't partake in many other things. I mean, I drink here and there, but when I'm fishing, man, that's it. I'm happy. I don't need anything else. And thinking about fishing, planning for fishing, going fishing, like it's a weekly thing for me. And trying to make it happen wherever I can. And it gets a little frustrating. Last year before, had some, trail offs on YouTube where I didn't really want to keep uploading because either the fishing wasn't very good or I was trying to force videos, and I want to do some of those like Barbie rod challenges and stuff, and mostly not even just for the views, but because it'll be fun, right? Like, it's cool to go out and go after some big fish on a garbage rod or on tiny baits, which I do most of the time anyway. It would just be fun to do and to document and those kinds of things, and like my first video, right? And my first video was with this goofy thing, this Zebco Rambler, which is now the dustiest thing ever because I got this basement work done and didn't cover anything, and yeah. And that video, I believe, is over 2,000 views now, which is insane. Because that video sucks, right? It's not good. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just starting out. I started filming because I went steelhead fishing, and I hooked into this beautiful male. It was such a great fight. It was such an amazing experience. I felt so close to nature, and all that practicing fly fishing and getting to that point, it felt real, right? It felt like I was doing something. I wasn't just messing around with the new hobby anymore. I was experiencing what many people take for granted is just this is how we fish, and this is every season I go and catch 20 of these things. It was amazing for me, and it kind of opened my eyes to just how incredible some of these fish are and some of these places are, and how a picture doesn't do it justice when you have a catch like that, or just anything, any adventure. And so I wanted to do this, and that Rambler video was kind of me getting my feet wet. I had this thing that I had bought for a joke, basically, and I made this video, and the wind noise is terrible, and I don't know what I'm doing. Actually, before that, I filmed, and I caught like a 6.5 pound largemouth. That footage is only on my TikTok, really. I think it might be on my Facebook, Instagram, something like that. But that, I couldn't even get a video out of that because the camera was messed up. I was terrible. I was shaking everywhere. I was trying to head cam, and you couldn't hear me. It was muffled and so bad. And now we're here. I'm mediocre at filming. I enjoy it now. I've gotten equipment. Look, I'm blinding myself with LED lights, and I have this table set up and this area to film this thing that is a hobby, and it still is. This filming is a hobby. Yeah, I've sunk money into it, but I love doing it. And this is supposed to be a short video, and now I'm getting emotional because I do love doing this. And we're still under 100 subscribers. This might be like my 50th-ish video. And yeah, it's just been awesome. I already love it. And if I grow, great. I'm excited about it. But if I don't, I'm gonna keep doing it because I watch my content. I know it sounds narcissistic, but I like to go back see what I could do better, or just see where I was and relive those moments. And I hope you guys like seeing those moments and go back and rewatch videos and, you know, critique me and comment, and it's great. I know I don't have a community yet, but I feel like I have more friends watching me that I may never meet, and I want to fish with you guys too. If you live in the area, just tell me. I want to fish with you. But no, I'm rambling now. I'm gonna tie this last fly. It's not a fly, it's a jig. I'm gonna tie it now. So thanks for listening. But anyway. Alright, so I got my thread started. And then what I'm gonna do is I am going to pinch the tip of this feather with these. These are hackle pliers. And you're just going to squeeze them and pinch the tip. If it wants to cooperate, it'll be easy to go ahead sideways. Just like that. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take that front end that we stripped and you're just gonna tie that in. And yes, there is a way that you're supposed to do it where you kind of go at an angle and then come back and then go back at an angle, and I'm not gonna do that. So, but what I am gonna do, so you wanna tie it on and then you wanna move your thread and go back behind it. So now my bobbin is back here towards the hook end of the fly, of the jig. So that way it's kind of out of my way when I do this. So now I have these in hackle pliers, and I'm just gonna start spinning it. And just spin it, and spin it. And make this nice, thick collar. And you can cross over and do all that kind of stuff. Okay, I'm gonna stop there. And now I'm gonna work my thread back through here without damaging too much of the collar. And that's where it gets a little tricky, right? Okay. We're through. That will do. And then you're gonna pull the rest of this feather up near the front and then wrap. And that's gonna kind of close the collar up. And then you can go ahead and cut the rest of your feather off, like so. And I did damage it a little bit, but that's okay. It's a nice jig. You don't want to go too crazy anyway. And then I'm gonna knot it. And that's one of the reasons why you gotta work your thread back through, is so that way when you finish it, you're not damaging it with your finishing knot. And that's that. So you can see I kind of messed up a little bit down here at the bottom when I was tying the thread back through, but that's really not that bad. And you can trim that down if you want to. I recommend just taking a razor blade and kind of, you could do scissors too, but basically the idea is with something like this, you're making it longer, right? So you're making it look more like a minnow presentation. But with something like this, you're making it bigger, which makes it look kind of more like a bug or a crayfish, something that's gonna have those kinds of dimensions. And you know, if you're on the surface, you're also adding something that will grab water, look like legs, also help it to float. Obviously this is not floating, but yeah, so that's it for that. I'm gonna tie a few more flies, and I keep saying flies. I'm gonna tie some more of these, these jigs. I'm probably gonna tie all these, honestly, because I bought enough and I have enough material here to, and I'm into it. So I'm gonna tie them. I'll put together a little outro here. You're probably seeing all the work I did and all the beautiful variety or lack thereof of the jigs that I made today. And again, I bought, each pack was $1.86 besides the teardrops, which I'm assuming I tied at Walmart, which is a great deal. And you can tell when you look at them and you go to tie them that there's something a little off with a lot of them. But yeah. So I've been Chris with the Flyest Adventures. This was supposed to be short. It's more of a podcast. Maybe in the future we can get some of my buddies together that want to get into tying. Here's looking at you, Ken, and do some more of this. So thanks for watching. This has been fun. I've actually thoroughly enjoyed this, and I will continue to work on my filming setup for these kinds of videos. And if you guys like the video, like it. If you didn't, dislike it. Either way, I love the engagement. I love hearing from you guys. Comment. Is there more stuff you want to know about me? Do you like this? Do you want me to make more of these? Do you want me to tie something specific? Try my hand at it. I'm by no means a master, but hell, if I can do this stuff, anybody can. So, yeah. We'll see you guys in the next one. Oh, I almost forgot. So the main reason I'm tying all of these is because I'm about to go rent an ice castle next week. I'm probably gonna fish before then, but we're renting an ice castle, so that's gonna be fun. Hopefully I get more than one video out of that. I'm excited for that. We're going up to Lake X. We're gonna call it Lake X, and hopefully we get into some fish. Yeah, I can't wait for that. Man, I can't believe I almost forgot. Anyway, we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.